Hello, hello. Welcome to Healthy Perspectives, a podcast that takes on current cultural and social issues through a clinical lens. Hello. All right. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we appreciate your time. Some of you may notice that it's a little pasty today. Look, I'm recording at a different time. The lighting is different. And frankly, I just don't have time to switch it up. So this is what you get. Those of you who have joined us many times, you might have seen this a couple of times in the past as well. And I apologize for that. But let's get you the content, because the content is really where it's all at. And today, I think I have a really good one for you. Today, I want to talk about poverty. And is being broke, is being poor, is it getting you down? It's like, because many of you out there, I know, I hear this in my practice, you're struggling. You are absolutely struggling. And I got some good information for you today. We'll start with the tip of the day, and then I'll give you a little bit of background that will help you understand why this is so important. The tip of the day today is money is a mindset. Trade has never ended. I know that's a lot to chew on. Money is a mindset, and trade has never ended. It's a little two-parter. All right, now keep that in the back of your mind as we proceed, because it's going to shape everything about this. Money is a mindset. Trade has never ended. All right, so I'm going to tell you today some things that rich people don't want you to know. Now, you may first be saying, well, Jeremiah, how do you know this stuff then? I'm going to be really blunt here. I don't talk a ton about my personal life, but I grew up very, very poor. So today I'm going to give you a little bit of glimpse into my world. And when I say very poor, yeah, I'm talking about there were days, sometimes even weeks, where we didn't really have food in the house. Poor. Single mom, dad that it didn't contribute to the household. And if he did, which I understand there's the possibility in my world that he participated more than I know, that my mom, she could blow money like nobody's business if she had it. For example, the whole food stamps thing. Now they do like the food card or the SNAP or whatever they call it. My mom participated in that. And oftentimes our fridge was still empty. But hey, we would have Pepsi. My mom loved her Pepsi. So we'd get the food stamps. First thing she'd do, she'd go put some Pepsi in the cart. And we might get a little bit of food that would last us a week or so, maybe two. And then we'd be hungry again. And we'd scrape by. So when I tell you what I'm about to tell you, I'm telling you this because the rich people don't want you to know this. They don't want you to know this. But knowing it can make all the difference. So let's define what poverty is. All right. So I went to, your favorite, whatever, the ChatGPT or Google or whatever. They all say essentially the same things. A condition in which a person or a group lacks financial resources and essentials to meet minimum standards of living. That's pretty interesting. It's like saying a lot without saying a lot. Break it down into three categories for you. Because, based on that definition, there's some things you've got to take into consideration. Number one, resources. What resources? Those are all based off of necessity or needs. Okay. It talks about opportunity, right? What opportunities, transactions can meet the needs or the wants? And then security. All right. In the modern world, they talk about security. The idea of I am safe no matter what, which is a load of crap, but hey, they're selling you a big pitch. The question there goes to what is security? If security means you never have a health issue, well, don't get health insurance, because people with health insurance go to doctors and hospitals all the time, and people without often don't. So if that's your indicator, cut off your health insurance, which we've done podcasts on in the past. You should go back and listen to them because they're very interesting. Look, those are wants. Security is a want. Security is more often than not a fallacy. It's an enigma. It's not real. Now we could put a security system in our house. We could have security on our computers and our laptops. And I'm not saying that all of these things are useless, because they're not. They often provide a security that isn't real, though. Stay with me. Okay. So let's go to the micro, the smallest, like, psychological things. Okay. Now this is big picturing the micro, the small stuff. Now we've got this spectrum from needs to wants, where we have resources that are needs, opportunities that are needs and wants, and then security that is purely a want. Okay. So let's take a look at this. How often do you think a person can move up the scale towards security? In other words, financial success. Well, I did a little research. This is kind of interesting. All right. If you were born in the bottom, the poverty level, below the poverty level, if you were born down in there, you have a 25, in the United States at least, you have a 25 to 30% chance of ever reaching middle class or greater. What that means is 70 to 75% of all the people born into poverty a generation later remain in poverty. Now, those odds suck, don't they? I can look, do you really want those odds? 70 to 75% chance you're going to be stuck. By the way, those statistics don't change dramatically at any level. However, I do want to tell you something else. This is super important. There's a 3-generation rule. There's a 3-generation rule, and families that get this break the rule. The 3-generation rule essentially says in one generation, we build wealth. In the next generation, we can maintain or slightly increase the wealth. But something happens psychologically in that 3rd generation. If a family is not intentional, and there are some wealthy meaning rich, like money wealth families who have figured out this rule. In that 3rd generation, something happens and you get a decline in wealth that becomes sustainably declined. Now, why does this matter, folks? This matters because how does that happen? Folks, it goes back to the tip of the day. Money is a mindset. It's a mindset. If you aren't taught to work for money, you start to lose the mindset. That's interesting. So in a capitalistic world, we're going to move to the macro, the big. In a capitalistic world, if you lose the ability to increase or sustain money, which, by the way, are very different things. We can get into that at a different time. If you lose that, it means you've lost track of the transactional nature of money. That money does not necessarily mean power and authority and more money. It does simplify some things, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's power and influence. It means the mindset has more power and influence. Folks, rich people don't want you to know this. They do not want you to know this, that the mindset is more important than the dollars behind you. In the United States, we have some history that should be made known. There, what was it, I want to say 1971, we became a purely capitalistic nation. What I mean by that is our dollars were gold backed and they became not gold backed. Now you can look at this. You can look at who the president was that did all of this. It became a fiat currency. Before that, it was trade. It was, I'm using money to represent the gold that I have in the US Treasury. And by 1979, just 8 years later, it became a purely fiat system, meaning it only has the power we attribute it to it. What does that mean? Our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, if they were in the US, they were the ones who made actual wealth. Interesting. Because now we make fiat wealth. Okay, so give credit where credit is due. The people who did the hard work were our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents. And if we don't change our mindset here today, what do you think is going to happen 3 generations later? The wealth is going to dissipate. The legacy will be lost. Interesting, folks. You know who knows this stuff? The people with lots of money. They see this. They know this. And now you do too. So let me ask you, what is your mindset? Because this is what matters. Money is a mindset. Money is used to trade. Trade never died, never ended. It's still a trade system. We put our faith in these dollars and hope that they're backed. And what are we finding out in current times? That they can change the value of the dollar kind of at will. Now, I'm not trying to do this to scare you. I'm doing this in hopes that I can help you understand something that the rich people know that you would benefit from knowing. So what's your mindset? If scarcity is your mindset, then you function from a place of fear that you won't be able to meet your needs. How is that going to help you transact in a way, because that's the capitalistic model, whether you like it or not, that's the model we have. How are you supposed to transact in a way that is successful when you're afraid of not meeting your needs? You won't, because today's needs is water. Tomorrow's need is food. So today I'm going to go spend everything I got on water. Tomorrow I'm going to spend everything I got on food. You'll never get ahead. The scarcity mindset coming out of a place of fear cannot function in a capitalistic culture. It cannot work. Bandwidth, you only have limited time, energy, and resources. Every moment you put toward a dysfunctional perspective on money, dysfunctional mindset on money, every moment there is a moment you'll never get back. Here's a question for you. I got a few questions for you. Is money your tool, or are you a tool for others' money? If you're not using money as your tool, You don't have the right mindset, folks. All it is a tool. If you're not using it as a tool, then others are using their money and you become the tool. Ouch. I know, but hang with me. What goes on your needs list? This is an important question. Water, food, shelter. What goes on your needs list? If you are in poverty and you are prioritizing windmills, you're not thinking well. Now, I'm not saying that we as a culture shouldn't think about our energy consumption. But if you're in poverty and that is your focus, enjoy your poverty because that's where you're going to stay. Your mindset cannot be there when you're in poverty. When you're in poverty, if you're focused on insurance, the what ifs in life, and insurance meaning health insurance, which is not really health insurance, it's unhealth insurance. Look, if you're in poverty and you're spending several $100s a month on doctors and all of this stuff to get healthy, and yet you remain unhealthy, maybe you should save that money, stop going to the doctors, and play a different game. I know this is hard for people to understand, but the mindset of people who gain wealth is different. I'm trying to help you see it. What goes on your wants list? You can deal with those wants once you start creating money in your home. That's through work. Look, a lot of people create income by trying to milk the system. Nobody who's rich, nobody who has the wealthy person's mindset does that. What they do is they try to figure out ways to make the money work for them. What tools can I purchase in order to make more money? Not what part of the system can I manipulate to get a few dollars? That's not the mentality of the wealthy. Plus, a little sidebar. I wasn't planning on saying this, but I'm going to give it to you. Wealthy people don't work in dollars. They work in percentage. And if you understand that, you know what I mean. And if you don't, you better figure that one out too, because that's a mindset. They may start off thinking about 1%, 2%, 3%. Eventually they're thinking 20, 25, 30, 80, 90, 100%, 180%. People who build wealth work on percentage, not dollar. And that gets really confusing in the messaging. We talk about inflation. Do we talk about dollars? We talk about percentage. Why? Because the wealthy people are the ones controlling that. It's a mindset, folks. If you're looking for comfort, wealth will never find you because you wouldn't recognize it when you encounter it anyway. If you're looking for comfort, wealth is not coming to your door. And if it does, you're going to miss it. Building something requires discomfort, challenge, hard things. And if you're not willing to do that, you've got the wrong mindset. If you want to build wealth, sustainable wealth. Let me tell you, I started these podcasts because I want to help people. And I'm going to be really honest. Of all the podcasts, and I've done a whole bunch of them, you can go back and look. This one is probably the single most desired inside of me that someday down the road, my kids will listen to. For two reasons. One, because I'm talking about mindset and money, and I want them to know this. But two, if you got the right mindset, you'll know when you have enough too. This is something that the rich people that are listening to this, hopefully, may not fully grasp, that there is such a thing as enough. Can you do everything that you would want? I don't care how much money you have, you will never do everything you want. Finding that balance spot, that mindset that I have enough to enjoy while I'm missing enough that I still feel a desire to work, to strive, to improve. And there's a sweet spot in there. And sometimes the rich people, people with lots of money, err to the side of not experiencing some of the joys as they should. And so they find joys in oftentimes unhealthy things, socializing in inappropriate ways for their relationships, trying to live it up for a day so that the next 364 that they work in a row, that's unhealthy, folks. Our hope here is that we can help you find the right mindset. That's what we want to do. Your job, if you really want to understand this, is listen to this 5 times if you have to. Start asking yourself, like, what is he talking about around mindset? Talk to your friends, your family. What is this money mindset crap that Jeremiah is talking about? Fix yourself. Get your priorities in place. Trade wants for needs, especially when it's uncomfortable. Give up that Pepsi that my mom couldn't give up. If you do these things and you're in poverty, you're going to be one of the 25 to 30%. Oh, it's going to be an uphill battle, because if I'm being real, the rich people don't want you to know this for a reason, because they're trying to hold on and prevent the decline of their own wealth. But you have some advantages. You're already suffering. So to suffer a little bit more, to get in the game, to play it right, to adjust your mindset, well, it's not so hard to do. Adjusting your mindset on the decline is a lot harder. Teaching yourself how to work when you've been handed everything, not so easy. That's why in the United States, the poor can move to middle class, to upper class in a generation, maybe 2. It can happen. You can make it happen. It's a mindset. It starts there. Folks, I hope this was helpful. Please share this with anybody and everybody that might benefit from it. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, please like, subscribe, do all of those things. This is helpful information. I'm not trying to make a bunch of money off of this. I'd love it if I did. I'm trying to be helpful. I care more about influence than the dollars I get from it. I hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate our audience a lot, so we give you some simple ways to track us down. Please like, subscribe, and follow all the podcasts on different platforms, but you can also email us at healthyperspectives@protonmail.com, or you can check out our website at healthy-perspectives.com/podcast. It's a backward slash. So if you want to go to our landing page, if you go to healthy-perspectives.com, you'll still find us. You just got to click on the podcast button. Thank you so much.